Well, hi everyone. I'm John Redland with my review of Undertaker The Last Ride, Chapter 4, The Battle Within. We get to see footage of Goldberg versus Undertaker. Hooray! Boy, let's revisit that bullshit. I also want to say I stand by every single thing that I said in the previous reviews, so if you don't like that, oh well, my opinion. That being said, Undertaker has had a hell of a career, and we get to see pretty much the last remnants of anything that was good in it. Because, oh boy, I'm sorry, Undertaker has hung on way too long. And I think he knows that. He even referenced that, and a little bit later in this. So we get recaps of like the stuff from the end of chapter 3, the crown jewel tag, which was a goddamn train wreck. Holy fuck. He says it was a train wreck. It was a disaster. He's right. I mean, it was a disaster by everybody. It was fucking rotten. It was fucking terrible. So he talked about personal issues with him and Michelle that like affected his mindset. I don't really know what those were. None of my business. That's their business. They seem to have worked that out, and that's great for them. Great for them. Great for their kids. That's what matters. And then they show a lot of footage of him back in the 90s building the casket for Kamala and the feud with Mankind and a whole bunch of stuff and a bunch of outtakes. Him even doing puppetry with the skull while Paul Bearer is there with him. They show footage of an interview with Paul Bearer a number of months before he died in 2012. And that was pretty good stuff. I really enjoyed that stuff. That was good shit. I liked seeing that kind of stuff. It's cool to see outtakes, and he really did live his gimmick. I mean, he honestly did. This isn't going to be a very long review because really, you got to see this stuff about him reliving, or living his gimmick. Footage of Taker and Paul Bearer's relationship, how they did commingle, and they were really perfect for each other. Paul Bearer was a perfect complement to The Undertaker, and Undertaker fed off of Paul Bearer's knowledge of wrestling from, being a manager even before he became Paul Bearer. Bruce Pritchard, the jerk that he is, does call Undertaker professional, and others tried to get him to break character. We see footage of that from house shows and everything. That was pretty damn funny to see. They referenced StarCast, how Vince was upset. And him and Vince didn't talk for a bit, and there was, a bit of stuff they had to work out. Eventually, they put their egos aside, got to where they worked things out. He did not like being left off the Mania 35 card once it actually got to the show. He was okay with it until it got to where it was showtime. He doesn't want to be on the card just to be on the card, which, to be perfectly honest, kind of describes Undertaker, a few years on a WrestleMania cards, and I'm talking over the years. And Undertaker is one of the greatest of all time. He truly is one of the greatest enduring gimmicks, but I'm sorry, there were some matches that were just there just to get him on the card, just to get that streak going, because some of them were really shit. Mania 19, anybody, where he beat A-Train and Big Show. And Nathan Jones could only make a run-in that somehow didn't end in a disqualification. I will never understand that. So he takes his kids, well, a 6-year-old daughter, to see what Michelle did, how she had some great career highlights. That was pretty cool stuff. Vince says, hey, you're needed on the Raw after Mania 35. I didn't bring my gear. You didn't bring your gear? He flew home to get his gear and then bring it back. Batista was happy to see him not on the card because he didn't want to see him hurt. He respects him a lot. They had that great feud in 2007. I mean, it really was a great feud. That Mania 23 match, rather, should have been way higher up on the card than it was. But they really did steal the show there. Taker and Vince before the show. Taker didn't want to be out there, but him and Vince shared, they really do have a father-son relationship. More so than Vince and Shane, who are really father and son. Anyway, Taker confronts Elias, in the Raw after Mania. That went absolutely nowhere. Triple H then mentions, hey, how would you like to work with Goldberg at Super Showdown? Should have said no, I really don't want to do that, but, well, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And it nearly ended the life of both of these men, because fucking hell, footage of people, greeting backstage, man, we see Goldberg and Taker footage, and it's more of a train wreck just seeing clips of it. This match wasn't going to be it was okay if you did like 1, maybe 2 minutes. It still wasn't going to be all that good, but boy, if Goldberg concussed himself, nearly dropped Taker on his head. And Taker nearly dropped spiked Goldberg on his goddamn head with a tombstone. Taker was upset. Michelle was concerned. Taker was in a lot of pain and was concerned that was going to be it. That was going to be his legacy. And then he says, well, I already signed on for Extreme Rules. Can I do this? It's going to be a mixed tag match where he teams with Roman. Well, it's going to be, let me try that again. Not a mixed tag match. It's going to, well, except Shane's not really a wrestler. I kid. It's going to be Taker and Reigns versus Shane and Drew. Because this is when they were doing the whole Shane best in the world. Not going to even try to do that. where they were doing this stuff and it really wasn't very good. Like them doing that with Shane. That match, however, is very unexpected. He does say it's not necessarily about the money, it's about the passion. Triple H mentions how the camaraderie is addicting. Shawn Michaels says the same damn thing. I'm really skipping through a whole lot of this because this was, I don't want to necessarily say it was a fluff piece, but this is where, yes, they're doing 5 chapters. This is where they're starting to stretch everything just a little bit. Now, it was cool to see that backstage footage, or, that outtake stuff and everything. Austin talks to retirement at Mania 19. And then Taker even said that he had said to Shawn, I should have left with you. To be fair, even though we would have lost out on some pretty cool moments in Taker's career, it might have not been the worst idea if he left with Shawn. Or at least maybe by, when the streak went to 20-0. Because realistically, besides that meme where he, where he laughed at Brock at SummerSlam 2015, it has just been a downhill slide. It has really not been very good because Father Time is undefeated. Austin even talked about he's just Father Time's tapping him on the shoulder, waiting for him to turn around and say, it's time. And it happens to everybody. It happens to every single wrestler, every single athlete, every single person when it is your time. Not to die, not to pass on, not saying that. But when it's your time to hang up and take a different, path and not do something like this anymore, you gotta listen. Otherwise, you're just damaging your legacy, and that's what Undertaker's been doing. And he talks trying to hang with the younger wrestlers, and Shane diving on the Taker at Extreme Rules. Shane nearly braining himself, because Shane, while the spirit is willing, he is also almost 50 years old, and while he is in great shape, he doesn't have the spring in his legs that he used to. No person would at 50 years old. And then, the crowd appreciated him afterwards. Vince, he said to Vince afterwards, I'm done. I'm just not there. Vince says a little bit later in the conversation, Mark, I will follow your lead. And then people talk loyalty, Taker having loyalty to wrestling and everything. And that's really about it there. And then he says I'm up on adrenaline. I might have a couple matches left. And then we have chapter 5, the final chapter, where it's that match with AJ. We get to see that stuff. He gets to build up with AJ and see if he still has one more match left in him, and we know what that is, the Boneyard match. And that's going to catch up to this, and I think at the end of this episode, or at the end of that episode, he's going to announce, that's it, I'm done, folks. Which he should be. He's got a wife, he's got kids. Any feelings that I have about the shirt that he wore and the views that he has, put those aside. The man should have hung it up years ago for his family, for his wife. He just should, and for his legacy, because honestly, his in-ring career has taken a major hit as far as its legacy. That being said, not a bad episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.